Welcome. I'm Adam Miller, a consultant with the Art of Applying and a graduate of the University of Virginia's Darden School of Business. Today we'll be looking at a question from our Q&A vault about the consortium and its mission essays. So let's take a look at what the client asked our consulting team. Will the schools get to read your 3 mission essays in your consortium application? So 2 things to unpack here before we get into the details. 1, what is the consortium? And 2, what are its mission essays? So the consortium is a group of about 20 of the top business schools who've come together over the last couple of decades to say that they care about admitting students who care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I actually was a part of the consortium myself, so I feel very comfortable answering today's question. And the consortium is great because it gives you a couple of awesome benefits like access to companies before school even starts, as well as opportunities for scholarship dollars. The other thing here is the mission essays. So there's 2 separate things going on with the consortium. There's the applications to the schools, right? Like they basically are funneling your application to up to 6 programs, at least at the time of this recording. For the price of 1 school, which is awesome. And at the same time, they're also reading some other materials just themselves about why you care about their mission around diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? The schools are not going to see those materials. So let's take a look at the actual question and see what our answer was back. It says, in the consortium frequently asked question page below, it states that each selected school will be able to read the core and optional core essay. So what that means is that you write one standard essay about who you are and why you want to go to business school. That's the required core essay. And that saves you a lot of work of having to rewrite that multiple times in multiple application portals. And then there's the optional core essay, which is is there anything else you want to tell us? Okay. And that's important because sometimes people want to talk about why they were laid off or why they had bad grades or why there's any kind of thing that they want to talk about that their application doesn't reflect positively is the typical thing that's going on there. And again, that's something that all the schools would have at their own application portals, but the consortium makes you cut down on the amount of times you're going to have to retype that by just putting it in this Common App. Okay, so second sentence says, however, it does not mention, the website does not mention the mission essays. Does this mean that the schools will not read any of the 3 mission-specific essays? That's correct. They're not going to see your mission essays. If so, would that mean our mission essays and the school-specific essays can have as much overlap as necessary? So if the schools are going to see your core essay and some other essays, and the consortium is going to see these mission essays, can I just kind of use the same materials across both? And the answer is yes, you can definitely do that. However, in general, it's good to make sure that you're really following the prompt every time before you just cut and paste across different parts of different applications, because if you end up writing the wrong word, maybe you write the name of a school instead of the consortium, or you miss the word count, that's not something you want to make a mistake on and lose out on an awesome opportunity. So just the last thing here is, here's what the actual FAQ says, and then we'll go into the actual response that someone on our team said back. It says, the question of, I understand that all the schools get to read the same general essay questions, right? That's the core essay. Does each school get to read each other's school's individual essays? The answer is no. They only read their own specific school essays and the core essays. The answer, all schools will see the required core essay and the optional core essay if you choose to complete it. Yep, each school will only see its specific essays and not the completed essays for any other schools. The first core essay is used to consider your admission to business school. All right, hopefully that was clear. There's a lot of essays happening here. And just to clarify one other thing, which is what is the mission-specific essays? What are the ones that the consortium is going to see? They've broken it out into 3 parts. And it's number 1 is, what are you going to do when you're at your MBA program to demonstrate your commitment, to diversity, equity, and inclusion? Number 2, what will you do post MBA to continue to be committed to the mission? And number 3, what have you already done previous to going to business school related to the mission? So going back here to our response from our consultant, he says the mission essays, it's the ones where you address those 3 points, will not be seen by the schools. That's like I said before. You've got your core essay, which all the schools will see. You've got your school-specific essays, which only each individual school will see, specific to them. And then you have the mission essays, which none of the schools are going to see. Only the consortium sees that. And that's important because you can get into a school and not be a part of the consortium. He goes on to quickly summarize and say, the mission essays are for the consortium membership evaluation purposes only. And that's important because consortium acceptance comes with the benefit of going to the orientation program, which is where you can meet companies for the first time before school starts, as well as consortium-specific scholarships. And then he copies and pastes some of the answers from the FAQ that we've already gone over. Our client says back, thanks for confirming that none of the schools will have access to the membership mission essays. Thus, there can be overlap between the mission essays and your school essays, and goes on to say how, the mission essays over time have changed. When I was applying, the mission essay was just one essay with all those parts in one long question. Now they've broken it out into 3 smaller chunks, probably because some people were accidentally not answering the entirety of all those questions. So that's it for today's question from the Q&A Vault. Hopefully was a little bit entertaining and informative. If you want any help getting into your dream business school or public policy school or law school or any type of graduate school, please reach out to us at theartofapplying.com.